assets, opportunities even that you may lose.
You must ask yourself if you love the people, because the only thing that can bind you to the people you serve is love. Ambition is not enough.
I have discovered the power of kindness, and that has made me a radical optimist. That's why I stay away from politics and from religion.
Countries that take unilateral action or coercive action.
Actually like Pinoy personally.
It's not a beauty contest who's ahead of who, but to...
Once upon a time, we were all irrelevant. And I sincerely believe that there will come a time we will all return to the dark embrace of irrelevance.
Martin's Man Cave. Welcome back to the 84th episode of Martin's Man Cave here on podcast.ph. We are still with a former Vice President of the Republic of the Philippines, Vice President Chofisto Gingona. Let's talk about the Vice Presidency. So, natapol yung gobyerno ni President Estrada. And then GMA took over and you were chosen as the Vice President. Tell us your experience.
Well, the Vice President is really not a sitting president or a waiting president. He can be very active and he can be a useful partner of the president in almost any affair of national importance. And it is up to the president to bring him in. Arroyo became a president. There was no problem because there was no impediment, in other words, to our being president and vice president working together as a team. Basically, we had differences. We had differences in the policy. We had differences in how to deal with the United States, and therefore we were prepared to put aside these differences in order to have a successful presidency. She called me a day or two after I was appointed, and she said, "Tito, I am appointing you as the Foreign Affairs Secretary of Foreign Affairs, and would like to say that the policies and the one we can take the challenges as we go along, and I am confident we can agree on many things, even on the things that we agreed to disagree on, we can patch up." Okay.
What is the most unforgettable moment during your tenure?
Well, the most unforgettable were moments when we could not agree. When we thought we could agree to disagree, we could not arrive. And it took us not only a little time, but the intervention of some friends.
Which policy was this?
The policy of the American intervention in the handling of the war in Sulu and Basilan.
You were a step away
Yes.
from the presidency, meaning you were already the vice president. And in 2004, there was an election.
Yes.
My question is, why did you refuse to run for the presidency?
For many reasons, but the fact is that there had to be continuity. And if the continuity would be disrupted, it would have been at a great disadvantage to our country. And along with the other difficulties of financial and other elements, we decided instead to not to allow her to continue to run for re-election.
Sometimes in your moments of solitude, do you ever think, or do you ever ask yourself, why didn't I do it? I should have.
Yes, I did it. I was stricken by that, not only once, but I think 3 times. And very deeply, I blamed myself. But, you know, one thing I learned in politics is that when we make a decisive decision with a heavy consequences, if it is distorted. In other words, in politics, you must make a decision, right or wrong, but it must be a decisive decision. And that's what I did.
If you were to do it all over again, rewind, it's 2003, a year before the elections, would you, in hindsight, would you have ran for the presidency
No more.
in 2004?
Because I did not have the resources. And the resources were as necessary as they are today. And maybe today is a little worse, but just a little. And at that time, I did not have it. So I said, I don't want to think about it anymore. I have decided I will not regret, and I will not take it upon myself that I did wrong. I decided correctly.
Who is the best president? Who is the best Philippine president in your lifetime?
Manuel L. Quezon
Why so?
was. Of course, we were still a Commonwealth, but I think all else considered, as an independent nation, he would have been more independent, as a matter of fact.
As a senator, I personally remember Chafisto Gingona Jr. as one of those who voted out the Americans and kicked out the American bases in our country. And also in your latter career as a senator, as the one who wrote and read the IAQ's speech. As a vice president, how would you like to be remembered?
Well, since justice, honesty, and good governance are the values that we fight for, that we tell to our children, that we ask prayers for, so that the nation can have real justice, real honesty, and real governance. I think those are the things that I must. And when I did that, in the case of IAQs, I did it because I thought it was the right time and the right manner that was before me as a challenge. I did it because, not because of governance, the principle of honesty, the principle that we leave to our children, that who can study in school and say, this was what happened, and this should not be repeated. So those are the things that
Honesty, justice.
honesty, justice, good governance.
How far are we as a country from achieving those principles?
Well, it's very hard to say when, but I think Providence will not let us down. I have seen many friends who say, goodbye, we're going abroad, we live in another land, we're tired, but some of them came back and said, we were wrong. It is worse in the other places. And we just did not appreciate, or we did not do enough here. So I said, well, if we count the yes and the no's, I think we're still ahead a little. It may be a longer time, but you know, the Filipinos on the right road already during the pre-war days. He was honest, he wanted justice, and he wanted good governance. Of course, there were problems, but we were going. When the war came, the values changed. Instead of honor, there was theft. Instead of prosperity, there was hunger. And the prime mandate was survive. Never mind your morals, survive.
The best post-Marcos president for you?
Ramos.
Why?
Ramos is a man who is honest. He's a man who is hardworking. He's a man who wants good governance. His record is there. He has never been accused, not even in rumors. So the values of Ramos, I saw I witnessed, even during the EDSA, he was very hardworking. He would not sleep because he contacted all those whom he felt he could sway to join the revolution.
What is your biggest regret in your political career?
That is, the circumstances prevented me from running for the presidency. But that, as I explained, that came because of circumstances, and I think Providence took a place in that decision. So I don't have any regrets.
It will be the same explanation that you will say to your God
Yeah.
when you meet him one day.
Yes. The same explanation.
You will tell your God
Yes, yes,
when you meet him one day.
yes, yes.
You're watching the 84th episode of Martin's Man Cave here on podcast.ph. We are with the former Vice President of the Republic of the Philippines here inside the Man Cave. When we come back, we will talk about his family, and we will talk about his, if he had an acknowledgement page in this podcast, in this documentary. We will ask him who the people who he would like to say thank you at the end of the road. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
I was reunited with that lady who visited me, and therefore the beginning of the marital challenge began. It was an indication that you were interested in me. And since she did not deny it, I pursued